have Josh Allen and Kyler Murray in my poker league, and I offered Josh Allen and Zach Ertz.
Okay.
Josh
Allen's put up big numbers first 2 weeks.
For Jonathan Taylor and Kareem Hunt.
Nope, I wouldn't do that either.
Okay. I offered Josh Allen, Zach Ertz, and the Buccaneers defense for Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek Hill, and the Steelers defense.
I wouldn't do that either.
Well, Josh Allen has...
It's the Zach Ertz part.
70, but Josh Allen has more points, double the points, than what Tyreek Hill and Jonathan Taylor got.
Yes, but who are these teams?
You add up the points in the last 2 weeks and
that you're trying to get.
Tom Brady.
Okay. Josh Allen upgrade over Tom Brady.
Josh Allen is like going to be could wind up being the number one fantasy football quarterback in 2020. Are you kidding me?
But you're trying to get 2 starting running backs in return.
Or 1 and a receiver. And Zach Ertz, I know right now, has got nothing going for him, but the guy's had 100 catches last year. I mean, it's not like he's going to be 0. And I've gotten, like, you're crazy. This is not crazy. Josh Allen in my league is 80 points over 2 weeks. Most of any quarterback. I mean, I honestly thought that was the better of the 2 quarterbacks to offer than Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. Honestly.
Josh Allen's looked good for 2 weeks.
Josh Allen is... All right. Let me turn to a guy that knows how to make a trade, or at least make a trade as if... What's today's date?
September 22nd.
Okay. He offers trades to people on today as if they were born on September 21st. He's Sports Illustrated fantasy expert, Michael Fabiano. How are you, Fabs?
I'm good, my brothers. I don't know if that statement is altogether true.
You're in the Hall of Fame. I'm not, so at least you're joining us.
You're in the Hall of Fame in my book, my friend.
All right, Fabs. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Am I crazy? Were the trades I just mentioned totally insane, or at least in the realm of understandable here, or no?
You know, Rich, you're trying to sell high on Josh Allen. He played 2 bad teams. Your squad and then Miami. He's great, but Jonathan Taylor's value is on another level right now. The only quarterback you're gonna probably be able to trade to get Jonathan Taylor is going to be one of the 2 top guys, Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. That's how out of this world Jonathan Taylor's value is right now, because he's the true featured back. After week 1, Nyheim Hines got 8 targets and a couple of goal line opportunities, and we're thinking, oh, well, Taylor will be the guy, but he's going to mix in Nyheim Hines as well there, Frank Reich. Didn't even happen. I mean, Hines was on a milk carton this past week. Jonathan Taylor's value is right up there. I'm not saying he's with, for example, McCaffrey when he's healthy, or Saquon when he's healthy, or Zeke, but he's real close, man. He is very close. People who drafted Jonathan Taylor are holding on to him with a death grip, because he is going to be a league winner this season.
So then, obviously, I'm willing to trade even Kyler Murray too. I mean, because I had Saquon, and I obviously need a running back right now. So for everybody out there right now that lost Saquon for the season, what's your advice? Figuring out, obviously, you don't know what everybody's waiver wire looks like, but you can probably guess. What would you do? What is your advice, Michael Fabiano, to anybody who's just lost Saquon in fantasy football?
Well, you know that there's no replacing Saquon or CMC, but Mike Davis has got to be the top target off the waiver wire this week, the running back position. Last week, 8 targets, 8 catches. We've seen some flashes from him in the past. He's a veteran running back, and we know that he is going to be the guy in Carolina right now. When you look at the numbers, too, I get it. Davis is not McCaffrey, but over the last year and 2 weeks of the NFL, 25.1 touches per game. Christian McCaffrey leads all running backs. They want to run the football. And Davis is a guy who maybe for the next month plus will be the bell cow for Carolina. And at worst, he's going to have flex starter value because of the volume that he's going to receive in that offense. Jerick McKinnon is another player that should be added off the waiver wire big time this week. Raheem Mostert hurt. I mean, boy, the Niners just got absolutely decimated with injuries. Tevin Coleman out as well. So suddenly McKinnon is a potential RB2 against the Giants, who have an awful defense as well. And McKinnon's been very good over the first 2 weeks. He's averaging over 3 fantasy points a touch. Now, he hasn't had a lot of touches, but he's gotten into the end zone a couple of times, so McKinnon worth a look. Joshua Kelly in Los Angeles, he had 23 carries this past week against the Chiefs. He's 5th in carries among running backs. He's tied for 13th in touches per game, and he's in a backfield with Austin Eckler. He's basically come in and filled somewhat of that Melvin Gordon role. So Joshua Kelly also worth a look. In New York's backfield, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Devonta Freeman's there at some point or Lamar Miller. They have to go out and do something. But right now, it's Wayne Gallman and Deion Lewis. I think Wayne Gallman will be the starter. He'll be the early down back. Deion Lewis is more of a third down back, a guy they're going to utilize in passing situations. You're not going to find much help there in that Giants backfield from a fantasy standpoint. Darrell Henderson's out there as well, but that Los Angeles backfield for the Rams, I feel like every single week could end up being a different dude. Week 1, it was Malcolm Brown. This past week, it was Darrell Henderson. Cam Akers is banged up. He's got the rib injury, so it's really hard to decipher. I'll tell you this. This has been, and obviously we're only into 2 weeks, this has been the most difficult season that I can remember as a fantasy analyst to try and figure out some of these backfield situations.
Well, and in
Baltimore, Washington, it's been unbelievably difficult.
Well, in terms of that, I mean, obviously the era of the bell cow is over, and in Baltimore in general, I mean, like, you know, when their fullback scored, it's just like, how many eligible receivers does Baltimore have for Lamar to throw to? You know, I mean, it just seems like they're coming out from everywhere. Michael Fabiano of Sports Illustrated here on the Rich Eisen Show, and we do miss you at the NFL Media Group, brother. I miss
you guys too.
No, so right back at you. So, shouldn't, though, someone who's lost Saquon take someone from his team? Because Mike Davis might get you through a month, but don't you need somebody for the long run? It's not like McCaffrey's out for the season. Shouldn't you take somebody from the Giants on a waiver wire?
Rich, I don't believe in either one of the backs that they have right now. I mean, that's the issue. And also keep this in mind. The Giants' defense is bad. I mean, really bad. What does that mean for game script? Maybe it's more Deion Lewis in the second half of games as the Giants try to erase deficits, right? Because he's going to be the pass-catching option. It's going to be a committee. I'd go after Gallman again, but I'd rather have 4 to 6 weeks of Mike Davis, knowing that he is going to get the majority of the touches in his backfield. And then who knows who else might pop up on the waiver wire, because we've had so many injuries over the first couple of weeks. You just got to keep tabs on that. And then also, I feel like most people probably have another running back, maybe 2, that they can plug into a flex position moving forward here. Without CMC, you can't replace him. You can't replace Saquon Barkley, so you're going to be playing the matchups a lot of the time. And we've got a lot of these backfield committees, right? In Baltimore, Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins both have value. In Buffalo, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary both have value. Detroit, my goodness gracious, that thing is an absolute headache. But I'd rather get the guaranteed touches for 4 to 6 weeks from Mike Davis than try to figure out who the heck's going to get the ball in New York on a week-to-week basis between Gallman and Deion Lewis. And again, I mean, the Giants could end up signing somebody too, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So that could muddy that situation even further.
A couple more minutes left with you, sir. Michael Fabiano, Sports Illustrated. Would you cut Brees or Brady for Derek Carr today? Would you do that?
No, I wouldn't do that. Carr had a tremendous game last time. I mean,
but he's looking good. I mean, he's efficient and he's dealing, and he's definitely available, I imagine, in many leagues right now, sitting out there.
You know what, though? There's other quarterbacks I'd rather have that are available. The mustache, he looks great. I mean, this guy is, what, 5th or at least top 5
Minshew.
in completion percentage. He's giving you 20-plus points in 2 straight games. He's got the Dolphins this week. His schedule is really good over the next month. I believe he's got Miami, then he's got the Bengals, the Lions, the Texans are in there as well. Ryan Tannehill. I looked at ESPN's ownership percentage, and I'm thinking, this guy's Rodney Dangerfield. No respect at all. Second half of last year, one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy football. So far this year, he's been tremendous. Had 26.7 last week, almost 20 in the opener. He's looked great, man. You get away from Adam Gase, and look what's happening. Tannehill's a guy that I would add. Joe Burrow is another player. I love the way this kid looks. He's got that it factor, and Cincinnati is going to be playing from behind a lot this year. So Derek Carr is certainly worth a look. I'm not giving up on Brady or Brees just yet, though, to pick up DC. Plus, they've got New England this week, and that's not a great matchup.
All right, Fabs, tell me what else you're up to. I give you the floor. I know you got a lot going on. I want to make sure that we get everything out where everybody can find you. Michael?
Yeah, so SI.com/fantasy. You can find Stardom and Sid'em, the one, the only, the original there every Wednesday. My player rankings also at SI.com/fantasy. They come out every Wednesday as well. My show, and by the way, Rich, we've been friends for a long time. My
Yes,
show,
sir.
Fantasy Dirt on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern. I really used a lot of inspiration from you for that because you were a guy who was in the sports world, ESPN, moving on to the NFL Network, and now you're doing entertainment. And I love the fact that you mix in sports with celebrities, and I do that on my show too. I've actually had a lot of celebrities on my show that you've had on your show, like Jeff Garland, for example, The Miz, and you've been an inspiration for that. So I really want to say thank you for that, and I hope people will tune in because the show is going to give you a mix of great fantasy football advice with myself, Mike Dempsey, and Bob Harris, but we also bring in the celebrities. Okay, Jerry O'Connell's been on a couple of times over the course of the season. He's been great. We bring in a lot of celebrities who love fantasy football. Jerry Cantrell, our pal from Alice in Chains, Duff McKagan. I mean, I've had Tommy Leon from Motley Crue, Joe Buck, and all of this, Rich, is because you had a vision that I really liked, and I followed it. And this is what I wanted to do on SiriusXM, bring in my expertise in fantasy football with the celebrity aspect of things, and I hope people will check it out. Also, you can check me out on Westwood One every single weekend on the NFL Fantasy Forecast with Jason Horowitz. I miss you. I miss everybody at NFL Network, but I'm still out there all over the place.
Well, again, Fabs, you've got some. First of all, thank you and congrats on everything that's going on. You have some sway over Cantrell and that league that we're in together. Can you help correct the standings, please? Because it says we're 1-1. We're really 2-0 because Jerry forfeited the win over us 5 days before actually getting it when he texted me saying that he had no chance against us. And I take that as a win. And it seems like he actually did, in fact, play the fantasy week and lost. We lost to him. So can we get that fixed? Unless you want to start a new segment with him on your show called Bitching and Moaning, which might be a great new album for Alice in Chains based on his fantasy complaining.
I don't know if that's going to fly, but I will say this.
Will you please?
You and Jerry are two of the Hall of Fame fantasy football whiners when it comes to trying to reverse jinx an outcome, and I do it too. But you guys are two of the best.
No, excuse me, Fabs. I know I slagged you in your introduction at the I will not let that send. We don't send texts like we have no shot. This thing is over.
He sent it 5 days ahead of time.
He did on Tuesday.
Yeah,
on Tuesday. Literally, we have no shot against you. I screen grabbed it. I put it on Twitter.
Come on.
I saw it. That sounds like Cantrell, man. He does it with me too. He loves to throw out that reverse jinx out there, and then if he ends up winning, well, man, geez. I mean, I was lucky to beat you guys. I didn't think I had a chance. That's JC's whole MO, man. It's hilarious.
Fabs, thanks for the 2 cents. Appreciate it.
All right, my friend. Take care.
That's Michael Fabiano. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.